Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube art tutorial channel. I'm a professional artist working from my studio in Essex in the UK and painting plein air in the countryside. This week I'm demonstrating how I painted a lovely country lane here in my home village of Gallywood in Essex in the UK. Well, as you can probably see, I'm using a large, a half imperial 15 by 22 watercolour paper, £140 knot surface, and I'm going to. It was quite a very dull day, but I'm going to have a dull sky, but also want to warm the sky up a touch with a little bit of light. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to damp the paper to the left hand side of the sky, down as far as the buildings and the horizon, and also along the bottom there. Following the horizon, there is some trees on the horizon there that I'll paint in shortly, but to start I just want to get some light this bottom and left hand corner, because I think that's going to be quite crucial to the complete painting. Got my board at a bit of an angle. Now into that bottom left hand corner I'm going to start off with raw sienna into there, and that's going on to the dry. So it's just sneaking onto the dry there. That's still damp, and as I come down I'm going to add a little light red to that. Still damp, so that's vital. And now I'm going in with cadmium red. There we go. Into that bottom left hand corner and across the bottom of the sky where it meets the distant trees just there. And then finally I'm using cadmium yellow. I'm going to put that in there, try and create a glow from around that bottom edge. Let's put the glow a bit higher than that. There we go, glow. And just along the horizon, just want a nice bit of, there, look at that. Now I like that. Now clean the brush thoroughly. Top right hand corner, this is going to be different because this is going to be Payne's grey. So I'm using a large mop for this, and I'm using the Winsor & Newton Artist Quality Payne's grey onto dry paper, because I want to create, and I'm coming into that damp area, I want to create the illusion of clouds just streaking across the landscape. There we are, and that's now gone into that damp area there. Just got to be careful because I don't want it to turn too green. And then of course it's got to be lighter, the top left hand corner, because that's where the light is coming in, like that. There we go. Now I'm going to clean the brush, and I'm going to add Prussian blue. You could use Winsor blue, that's as good as any other colour, just to pick up the lower parts of the sky. Nice bit of blue there. Just feel it needs a little touch of blue here and there, just to give a bit of interest. Then just before it dries, removing a bit of moisture from the brush, I'm going to paint in some yellow on the undersides of those clouds. Now it's just run in, so just pull it up. That's it. Let's not panic. There we go. Look at that. And we've got a lovely soft lower part to the sky and a warm glow, and then we come in to the harder top edges. And do you know, I'm going to leave that at that for this stage. Now the distant field, I'm going to use burnt sienna for that. Because I want light on this subject, although everything, the trees and everything is going to be dark. So burnt sienna pulled across there. Down into the land and the side of the building there. Now just before that dries, I want to get some distant fields in. So I'm going to use the Windsor blue with a touch of raw sienna. And I want this to be quite blue actually, just to get a glow from some distant trees. Nice blue green. Let's go even bluer than that, because I do want some depth there. There we go. And blue creates depth. And then I'm going to sweep that away, pull it away like that. And as I go out, I'm adding a touch of raw burnt sienna to that, just to give that a slightly different feel. But overall, it's nice and soft. And the burnt sienna with a touch of the Windsor blue is also going to come into this area while it's still damp. And that continues that sense that those trees continue along the distance. Then, of course, we've got the burnt sienna again. Not too strong burnt sienna this time for the land that continues across there. Good. Yep. A little bit of moisture off the brush, because I don't want that to run in too much. Just lifting away a touch there like that. Good. Now the road, while I have some colour, it's going to be sort of quite warm again. So this is light red going around. Then as I come forward, I'm going to use burnt sienna. Notice how I'm using a dry brush technique. And as I come right into the foreground, I'm going to use cadmium red, my old favourite, to pull that foreground forward and to show off any greens that are along the border's edge of this road. There we go. And that's that part. Now on this right hand side, we've got a lot of very sort of warm tones of grasses just standing up. And I want to show that with the sunlight on at this stage. So I'm using raw sienna, pulling up like that. And just before it dries, I'm going to use burnt sienna in this lower corner. I want to keep it all nice and clean, and I'm just dotting around, trying to give a bit of texture to that at the top with this burnt sienna. Yeah, that is. There we are. And then I'm going to use burnt umber, just to give it that added texture and strength, particularly right in that bottom corner, there like that. Now I'm going to use the same colour for the hedge there. Now a lot of people struggle with hedging, but I'm looking to catch the sunlight on the top of that hedge. This is why I've been quite light there. Then I'm going to go in with burnt sienna and a touch of the Windsor or Prussian blue, because I want this to be darker as I go up. Actually, you could use burnt umber. I mean, that's not dissimilar to that tone, like that. And then finally something really dark, which is those same two colours, only to quite a strength, and it's finishing there like that. And don't just paint them, you know, paint them at random, so you've got a bit of depth to that painting, like that. And then as it goes away, gradually lose paint from the brush, just finishing fairly neat on that edge that meets the bank, this side of the road. There we go. So that's the hedge. Now the bank on the side of the road is quite a nice warm green, and I'm using Windsor blue or Prussian blue, it's up to you, and cadmium lemon just for that area there, trying to leave some touches of white, and also here as it goes round that corner there, and that then gently teases into that grass that's sticking up. Just pull that in just a touch as if it's going around the corner a little, just so it gives that nice introduction round the corner. Now the barn, it is a wooden barn. I think it's wood. Anyway, it's wood now, but it's got a lovely glow from that low sunlight onto this gable end. So that I'm putting in very, very sort of yellowy, because I want the sun to pick up on that. Maybe we can see just a little bit of the lower part of that, but the side of that part of the barn. Then I'm adding light red now to, in a pretty strong mix, to that roof there, because that, I believe, is part of the cottage that's in the grounds of which is part of this old building, really. This old building stands in the grounds, and also painting the gable end of that too, so we can see where that finishes. And I think that's of a cream, but I'm going to leave it white at this stage. Now the roof areas, that roof is like it's more or less a but what I can remember, I know the sun was on it. I don't know, it's a tin roof. Do you know I'm going to use burnt? No, I'm going to use Winsor Newton Payne's Grey, and it may come up a little bit. Yeah, there you go. So that's what I'm going to use for that. No reason why, but that's what I'm going to use for that. Notice I haven't painted the shadow sides yet, because I want those to really ping. And the colour I use probably will be the final colour. Now this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to use Payne's Grey with a little burnt umber to paint in this tree. As you can see, I've changed to the smaller brush there, and that hedging just runs, the tree just begins to come into that sort of hedging area, and I'm just going to leave some little touches of unpainted area, just where that, on that right hand side, sorry, left hand side, because that I think will be where I get some lovely film of light. Not so much this side, and we've got the trunks, the larger branches coming off, and where they meet like that I'm leaving, and that's another branch that will come in like that. But overall, a lot of that left hand side I'm leaving unpainted, because now I'm going to use the point of the brush now just to finish off. I'm not going to put in the small twig shapes, just want that to gradually see its way up the page like that. So that's the start of that tree. Not put the sunlit touches on the left hand side yet. Now I'm going to use burnt umber with Windsor blue, because I want to get the impression of ivy areas on the right hand side of this tree, and that is the way I'm going to do it. And they always extend beyond the trunk, and there are some, it goes up, it actually goes up also onto the right hand, the left hand side too. This ivy, it is beginning to creep up around this old tree, and that's something that I enjoy painting, actually. Ivy areas running up these old trees give it real character, and gives the opportunity to use a bit of license really to create interest. Now to that I'm adding burnt umber, so it's coming up a dark brown, because this is what I'm going to use for the bits in between, not everywhere but some of it, because some of it will be this dark sort of tree colour. And then of course I'm leaving the sunlit side as well unpainted, just as I did with the other tree, which at the moment seems a bit unusual, but as an artist you try and do the unusual, because it's the unusual that sometimes creates the best effect. Well, all being well, we'll soon know when we get to the end of the painting. Working my way up, as you can see, sunlight on the left, the darker branches to the right. And that goes right the way out of picture, slightly greeny brown that, which is something that I like. I think that's possibly what we would see. And we'll leave that at that. Now I'm going to paint these window areas. There's no glazing as far as I'm aware, but there is a little cross section, although I've lost that, but there you go. And I'm leaving a bit of light coming in there. I'm not leaving any light on this, or I don't know, that could be creating light, I suppose, onto that. So I'm just suggesting light then. Let's put that like that. There we are. That suggests light inside the barn, because you've got to remember the sun is coming from the left. Well, as you can see, I've laid the basics out, so we're gradually getting there. If you are painting along, you know, you won't be exactly the same as this, but then again, why would you want to? It's your version, it's your impression, and I hope you continue watching and watch me finish this off. Well, now I've gone over to a rigger, and it's just a long head brush, really. Holds lots of paint, and which is just what I want to do. Plenty of paint in there, and I'm using Windsor blue or Prussian blue, and this time I'm putting a red with that. And the red I've elected is the cadmium red, because this I want to be quite strong in tone. And I'm going to use my mule stick, which is one of those, and I'm going to paint the trees running from that. They're actually growing obviously from here, but we've got this foliage undergrowth there, and so I'm going to start there. And when you paint trees like this, you push hard and gradually lift off, and by pushing hard you get a wider mark. And I'm going to show that just coming into that by some dots and dashes, and because that shows texture on the bottom of on the tops of those areas there. And when we're going to have another one coming there like that, and that's going to go up like that, and that's going to come from a little bit further back. There we go. Now I'm adding a little more red to that, just to give it a bit more punch, because I'm going to stand one just a little bit to the front of that, and then there's going to be another one standing up there, and that could come from there, which I probably would do, and there's another one coming there like that, but don't be too fussy with these. And Sarah's breaking up now. Now I've now it's lost some paint. Let me just add a bit more colour to that, because I want another one just to come into there like that, and that can cross over that at the back of it. There you go. And there's one or two coming in at the side, and one or two smaller little saplings or whatever. There we go. Good. Now what I want to do to that is to add a little bit of sort of the smaller branches, you know, the smaller stuff that's coming off of those larger areas. We've got to watch here, because there we go. So we're now getting some smaller branches coming off of the larger branches or trunk areas, and I'm going to dense that area up just with marks like that. So we've got the density of all the branches and everything that's coming from that area being built up with very small brush marks, and that, I think, is a good way of dealing with this sort of these sort of trees coming in from that area there. Just strengthen that up a touch. So there you go, that's the tree on the right hand side. Now I'm going to paint this tree now, and I'm painting the sunlit parts, and that's burnt umber with a touch of light red. And I'm going to paint up, so this is all the sunlit areas that I left. I'm going to paint the trunk first, and any branches coming off of that like that to start, and also any branches coming off of that would have the tops of those branches like that. That would be like that. And then of course we have the branches, that the smaller branches as the tree opens up, like that. See the way I've got light, sunlight hitting the left hand side. That's what I'm looking for, really. Right, now we can go in and create the rest of the branch work, and I'm using this warm tone to do this because I feel that at this stage of the painting we need, because of the way I'm designing this painting, we do need these lighter tones and sort of sunlit tones that gives us the richness, because you've got to remember this is a winter tree in effect, but of course we've got this lovely fin of light that I'm trying to achieve coming from the left hand side, and if I can get that, I do have the success I'm hoping for. And of course these old branches also hang down, you know, they don't only go up, and they're quite spiky. We do have some little sapling branches coming off in places, so, and of course then you could start using this nice dotting motion to create the density that we're looking for when you come to paint these lovely old trees. I love painting winter trees. So much life and interest in winter trees. Now, believe it or not, I've added cadmium red to that burnt umber and light red mix to paint the left hand side of this tree. And you will see it in places, but you've got that ivy as well, and also the tops of any branches. Just got to watch that ivy area and anywhere that the sun is catching this tree, which, you know, may seem a little unusual because it's not red, but you'd be surprised on a day that the light is catching these trees. It can be quite deceiving, and observation is required to see exactly what colour we do have on the sides of these trees. And of course, you know, what you see can be elaborated on, which is what I'm doing here. I'm making a little more of the light effect, because if I don't, you can soon end up with quite a dull looking painting, and that's one thing I don't want today. I want to have interest right the way through the work. There you go. And that's the way you create real interest. And I am all the time looking at my sketch because I'm trying to pick out the way branches come away and stand out in the light that I did see. Just as well, we never had any sun, but you know, it was quite interesting the way the light catches these trees sometimes, and that really is what I'm looking to achieve. Obviously we've got shadows to go on, so we're not you know, we're not painting everything at the moment. You know, this is just the a lot of these branches come down, and if you leave some gaps, funny enough, the eye, your own interpretation, gives you a feeling of what's going on. You know, it doesn't have to be completely described for the viewer. You know, the viewer can make up their own mind, really. Just come this side just to do a few running down and out of picture like that. Would be nice. I think there is a larger branch here somewhere, so we'll give that a bit of punch. But other than that, I'm not going to put too many in. As I always say, you can always add, but you can't take away. What do we got this side? Let's just give that another little punch there, because we do need a branch. I think there is a branch that runs like that. Let's just try and make that a little bit cleaner. There we go. And away we go with all the necessary little branches that are shooting away up and out of picture. Same this side. And as the brush runs out of paint, you get lovely effects from that too, which is something that you know, is very, very interesting. Well, to me anyway. There we go. And that's the trees, the two main large trees in. Okay, well, I've just painted a shadow there running across the road like that. Also going to paint the shadow side, mix a little more colour for this, of the large tree. And Payne's grey is being used to considerable degree here, but I've also got cadmium red in there as well, so you know, that's also an interesting part of this, these mixes that I'm using. And I'm painting the left hand side of that, sorry, the right hand side, leaving areas unpainted on the left. And I'm just dotting around now, trying to pick up where the light would be catching parts of the ivy and not other parts. There we go. Then I'm painting down and leaving a jagged edge again where that runs into the hedge, like that. All very suggestive, nothing too you know, it's there but not completely being described. Now obviously with the hedge you'll get lots of textures and what have you going in, because this casts a shadow across that hedge like that. Sometimes there's taller grasses standing up like that. Don't want to get too fussy with this. And then we're then going to sweep a shadow across, gradually lifting off as I go, because I want that to open up. There you go. Now taking some off the brush, just to sweep that across like that and up that side. And obviously, you know, it opens up a little, but not too much. Like that. There we go. Perfect. Right, now we're going to continue with this, because this is now going to be in shadow. The lower part of the hedge, there like that, and that'll just dot up where there is light catching, like that. As I say, don't want to get too bogged down. Adding a bit more red now, because it's always nice to vary that. Just dropping some of that red in there, very impressionist, and that's the sort of texture that I'm looking for. The sort of thing I'm looking for is to give it an impression. A bit more Payne's grey now. Not, it's not often I use Payne's grey, but just fancied using it today, and that's why it's pretty much totally different to what I've done before. It's always nice to ring the changes, isn't it? And I'm running that away round the corner. I'll deal with that shortly. Now I'm removing a lot of the paint from the brush on tissue, and I'm just going to now try and get a feeling that there's just a little bit of undergrowth up the hedge that's still in shadow, like that. And I'm just going to try and use the point of the brush just to show some little touches there. I always think those little lift-offs, as I call them, do help in many ways. And then I'm just going to use that just to tease away the edge like that. There we are. So that's going around the corner, right? Now this tree could very well be casting a shadow, a bit more red now, onto this texture here. Now to start with, it's going to be dark, just where it's away from the light in that bottom corner, but then all of a sudden it breaks up into a more sunlit area. But of course this tree could very well be casting shadows over this, and that's why I'm creating these textured impressions. There you go, nice bit of sunlight on that. That's what I'm looking to achieve. And those of you that know my work know that it's capturing the light that I'm looking to do in most of my work, and it's to me that's the way I would do this, really. Now I've added Prussian blue, Windsor blue to that mix to create other shadows, and these are going to be lighter. Now I'm going to put that in on that roof first, because that is a tin roof. I want to make that a little darker. Need an edge there where the barn is. Don't want that to be complete. I want a slight edge along there. There we go. It doesn't matter if it's rough because it's an old barn. There we go. It's a rough edge. Right, that's what I'm looking for, and that will in turn be the shadow for the hedge there, and that will creep up into that area there. Look at that. That's what they call playing with colours. And that's something that you can learn from the old masters. Hockney, he plays with colours to great effect. And the good thing about watercolour, you're overlaying one colour on another, which is always a good thing to do. And of course in the foreground, I'm not sure, but we could have had another tree running out of picture here, and using this just to tone back some of these areas. like that, to give that, just as if that tree is coming across from out of picture on the left, and that's then creating shadows within that textured area. And do you know, I'm going to use that just to enhance those shadows a little. That gives a secondary feel to those shadows. Lovely. Yep, we can be satisfied with that. Little bit of shadow work here from a tree or a bit of hedging that's just out of picture. That always works for me. Go. Good. Well, to be fair, I don't think we've got much more to do except the final touches. And the final touches are the warm reds just catching the top of that hedge, like that, just to give that hedge that bit of extra depth. See the way I'm putting these orangey reds, a yellow and a red, just where we need that warm tone, just to show a difference between the buildings. There we go, like that. That's good. And I'm going to show a little bit of warm red in a dry form, or orange, for the road itself. And I'm just pulling that through to create an illusion of, you know, marks in the road. James Fletcher Watson was very good at that, at pulling the eye into the picture with these foreground road markings. I use that as much as possible. Okay, finishing touches. Finally, it's these really dark touches, Windsor blue, and I'm using Indian red here, just to show a line along that edge, just to define that. I'm also going to show a line along here, just to define where the edge of that road comes. Like that. And I'm going to define a little bit this side, not too much, because you wouldn't see a great deal there. That's it. Okay, so that's nice. Yep, that's really lit up, you know, created the lights and the darks there. Going to go a little darker there with some touches to really enhance this funnel of sunlight. This is what I'm trying to achieve, that lovely depth of light that's looking across the field. There we go, that's it. Lovely. A little bit darker in places now for some of these branches. Just going to be a bit careful here, but perhaps we're going to put some darker branches in on top. There we go. We've got a good variety then of strength and light. That's good. Yeah. And I'm going to put some more this side too, because, you know, against the light, I think we would see quite a few of the darker branches that are beginning to break out of the tree itself. And it helps to give, you know, it tells your eye that there's something, you know, warm about this tree, particularly where we've got that area there. you know, it really does enhance the overall feeling of light. These darker brush strokes, I feel, really do give, particularly in the foreground, be a bit careful when we go into the distance with texture like this, but certainly within the foreground area, you know, texture really pulls the foreground forward and sets the background back, if you like. And that's what I like to do. I'm all about capturing light, texture. Well, today I am anyway. Another day it could be a different thing altogether. And that's what painting is all about, expressing yourself on the day. And if you can do that, not too many there we go, then oh, there you are, side of the brush texture. There we go, look at that, side of the brush texture. Why haven't I ever done that before then? Don't know. Perhaps I've never painted like this before. Well, I haven't really. So perhaps that's the reason I've never done that before. Side of the brush texture with a rigger. Look at that. Okay, okay. Well, we can live with that, I think. I think we can live with that. A little bit more here and there, not too much. With Indian red now, a little bit more Windsor. Yeah, what about a little bit of side of the brush texture there then? How will that work? Gives that density, doesn't it? That's it. What about on the large tree there then? You can always play with this idea yourself as you paint. A little bit on that, don't too much on that. And there you have it. I'm going to take the surround away and I'm going to call that done. Just before I sign it, I'm going to add a couple of figures here walking at that point, just to give a little bit of idea of scale. It's a winter's day, so we're going to have just a little bit of scale there. For one figure like that. Okay, and another figure. Let's just make that figure a little taller. Like that. There you go. Put the arm out because we may be able to put a dog there. There we go. And we'll pop a dog in, shall we? Maybe a good idea. Hopefully it'll look like a dog. They have been known to come up like cats with me, but hey ho. There we go. There we are. And to that I'm putting a bit of extra shadow underneath those just to enhance them. I'm just going to be a little darker with that because I still think that figure needs to be darkened. There we go. Not so much on the sunlit side, but the shadow side. And there we are. That's a figure walking the dog in a country lane. Now the final part of any painting is signing. We're going to sign in the left hand corner here in my latest signature, which is just Steed basically. Like that. And there you have it. That is the painting completed. Well, there you have it. That's the finished painting. As you can see, I've added a little bit more tone once I took the surround away. Overall, I'm quite happy with that. Plenty of strong light coming across, plenty of shadow work, and there's the little country lane with the old barn here in Gallywood. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you have, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also, don't forget to click the link and the notifications bell to make certain that you receive notifications when I upload my next video. Thank you all for watching. Take care and happy painting.